cause of the dispute. So after a review of the information, I recommend that the abatement request be granted. The dwelling was changed to a camp base rate and the land adjusted. The bedroom count was corrected to 1. They adjusted the basement area for crawl space, changed the heat from a heat pump to an oil furnace with hot water, adjusted the boathouse's condition for a failing foundation, and added finished space over the garage. The previous assessment had been $783,400. The revised assessment suggested is $648,600. And then he goes on to state, although their appraisal indicated a market value of $490,000, I feel it failed to consider some of the inferior aspects of the other comparables used. And he goes on, but I won't bore you with that.
I'll make a motion to accept the abatement for map 94, lot 17.
Yep. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Map 124, lot 4.
128.
128 left.
Yeah.
So this was one that was tabled at our last meeting because we determined we wanted Ken to look at it. The individual is requesting an abatement because they did not get their tax bill in the mail because they had set up mail forwarding with the postal service and the postal service did not properly forward it. So they're asking for their interest to be abated. So it was $56.99 of interest. They paid the taxes in February after they, realized they didn't have the tax bill. The tax bill finally got there, something of that.
I think my concern the last time around was, were we creating, did we already have a precedent set? Would we be creating one? I mean, the amount of money is not large. I don't think it's gonna be detrimental to anybody, them or us, but myself personally, I'd like to be fair.
And the individuals owned the property for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So they're not a new resident who wasn't aware.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it slips people's minds, things happen, but and I did explain that to her on the phone.
Yeah.
And the town's website does state it is your responsibility to change your address with the town. So.
I mean, I commend them for sending a letter. I don't think I would have. I would have just acknowledged it and paid it versus the time to.
And she did pay her the full taxes including the interest. She did pay it. It's a matter of principle, I think.
Absolutely, and like you say,
I'm on the fence.
It's 56. I know we've had these in the past, and I can't say we waived them or not waived them without researching all the minutes and stuff. But I think in the past we haven't waived them. Rosemary, does it sound familiar to you?
Yes, it does. And I'm trying to decide what I would do. Initially, I agree with Dawn that she should have known there was a bill.
I mean, I appreciate her character for coming,
Yeah, I think she might be one of the people who kind of seasonally live here and then change their mailing address in the winter for their December bill and then change it back kind of situations.
I know we've got some where the bill goes to the individual that pays the taxes for them and it gets misplaced, and I think we've held generally firm in the past that it is your responsibility. I almost think state law references that as well too, and it's noted on the website.
Because individuals can always call in, they can always go on the website.
Yeah. Something comes around June and something comes right
Around
before
Christmas.
and wrecks your Christmas.
How late was she again?
She paid it in February, so
And the bills all normally go out.
I think they were due the end of December.
Yeah.
So about 2 months.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, the fact she waited 2 months before is probably the kicker. If it was a week or two And she says, "I haven't got my bill yet."
Yeah, cause you
Yeah,
could think, oh, it was
Yeah,
late,
then I
mail
think-
forward and kinda slows
Yeah, then
things down
I think it would've been a
sometimes.
lot easier for us to, to accept, but I think, at the 2-month mark, maybe shame on you.
Yeah, is that a motion?
I don't make a motion to deny her request.
I'll second it, any more discussion? I think like you said, if you do it for one, you gotta do it for the other
Exactly.
5,000.
Yeah.
It multiplies out.
Yeah.
All in favor to deny?
I'm not afraid to handle them as one on, each individual. I
Yeah,
mean,
there could-
Unique circumstances
Yeah,
with each one.
yeah. But like I say, I think she just let it ride just a little bit too long before saying,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if she only did it for a month, it would have been $25, and
Yeah.
again, I wouldn't have.
she's
broke
been
the
up here how
law for
many
that.
years?
I think like 20 or
Yes,
something.
so it's not her first rodeo.
Yeah, it's not,
Yeah,
yeah, I would have more leniency for a new homeowner who just moved to town, who didn't understand how taxes work or something,
do we have something to sign on that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good call.
So land use change tax, so correspondence, none. Administrative matters, land use change tax for map 7532.
Land use change tax.
Alright, land use change tax for map 7532. They have a land use change tax because they had a boundary line adjustment with a neighboring property whose land was in current use and is still in current use. So they gained 2.26 acres of land, which had been in current use and is no longer eligible as this lot is way too small. They got the person's properties on the lake, they got a piece of land kind of across the road to make it one of those like adjoining lots, give them a little more acreage, but needs to be taken out of current use now. The market value at the time of the change, assessed by Rod, was $11,300 for the 2.26 acres as its backland. And the land use change tax is $1,130.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept, is that has to come forward? So the motion would be to accept from map 75, lot 32, the $1,130.
Land use, yep.
Okay.
I'll second it, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, so for each of these land use change taxes, there's gonna be 2 pages for you to sign, just so you know. One you're signing off on the land use change tax form, and then the other one's a warrant to go to the tax collector saying she can collect what we say to collect. So, 2 pages.
So that tax is actually paid by
It's paid by the buyer.
the buyer.
Oftentimes, if it's like a real estate sale where you know that there's gonna be a land use change tax, people might split it.
Negotiate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Which in their
Because the seller's
case-
the one that was being, taken care of.
Yeah, some sellers might decide to pay it, but
Yeah.
technically it does go to the buyer.
Okay.
They can always talk to their neighbor and decide if they wanna split it.
So next is map 68, lot 21.
Okay. This is another similar situation. They had a boundary line adjustment with map 58.5/1. And they gained 1.255 acres of land, which had been previously in current use and is no longer eligible. The market value for this one was $6,275 with a land use change tax of $627.50.
That's not a lot of money, is it?
So we're on 6821 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll make a motion to accept that land use change tax for map 68, lot 21.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I hope my blue is dark enough for him.
Alright, next one is 6822.
22. Oh, we're going right next door.
Yep, this is a very similar situation. It's a boundary line adjustment with their neighboring property. This individual gained 2.388 acres of land, which was in current use and is no longer eligible. The market value for that was $12,000, and the land use change tax is $1,200.
I'm sorry, will you repeat those numbers again? I'm
A
signing.
lot of
Sorry.
numbers there.
Okay, so this is for map 68, lot 22.
Okay,
And they gained, from their neighboring property, they gained 2.388 acres of land, which was in current use and is no longer eligible. The market value at the time of change was $12,000, so there is a land use change tax of $1,200.
okay. I'll make a motion to accept that land use change tax on map 68, lot 22.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Right. And then our last land use change tax. I'll wait until Dawn signs though, so I don't distract him too much.
Fire away.
Okay, map 29, lot 1. This is a land use change tax because it is new construction. The property will remain in current use as it is still gonna be eligible because it has enough acreage. They're taking 0.75 acres out for the house. And then, so the rest will remain in, and the 0.75 acres is assessed at $55,000 because it is the front part of the lot, where the majority of the value is.
So they pull that 0.7 out of the.
Yep, so
big piece.
they will have after this 10.094 acres in current use,
Okay,
which 10 is the minimum, so they
Okay.
are taking out the bare minimum they can while
Yeah.
keeping the rest in current
okay,
use.
okay, that makes perfect sense. I mean,
Makes sense, and they provided a map of where the section they want to be out of current use, where it was a modular home, so it didn't take up too much space.
Right,
So their land use change tax is $5,500.
okay. I'll make a motion to accept that land use change tax for map 29, lot 1.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up, we've got our credits, exemptions, all that fun stuff. The first two are veterans credits updates. These were individuals whose property was transferred to a trust, so they procedurally had to fill out a new form. They have been receiving the veterans credit for a while. And and are still eligible.
So all we need is a motion
Yeah, you
to,
can motion for both maps as it's the same the two lots, lot 20249 and 9486.
okay, I'll make that motion to accept that, veterans credit update for 202-49 and 94-86.
Alright,
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
you can choose any line on that one, I didn't
Choose
write your
any line.
names. Some reason the form lets me type in the rest of it, but not the bottom where the names are.
Next is the new veterans credit.
Yes.
Map 35, lot 1.
Indeed, so this individual is applying for the tax credit for service-connected total disability. They are a resident of Wakefield as of April 1st, supplied the required documentation, and is eligible to begin receiving the $2,000 credit for that.
Was this, we supposed to be signing both of them?
You are.
I missed the second one.
Yeah, I'll sign, give it back, yeah. There you go. Could you repeat that?
I could, indeed.
Thank you.
So, map 35, lot 1, the individual is applying for the tax credit for service-connected total disability, which is the $2,000 credit. The individual supplied all the required documentation, including the letter from the VA stating that they are 100% totally and permanently disabled. They're a resident of Wakefield and eligible to receive the credit.
I'll make a motion that credit application be accepted for map 35, lot 1.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I know she's gonna be very happy. Okay,
Elderly exemptions.
elderly exemptions.
And
These,
seeing more and more of those in upcoming years, I
yeah,
suspect.
as people get older. So, these are all individuals who have previously received the elderly exemption and supplied their annual update and provided all their bank statements and financial documents as required. They are all eligible to continue receiving it. Every elderly exemption individual this year was approved to, good to go. Which is lovely, I hate taking it away from people.
Do we have to do these
I was gonna say, do
individually?
you wanna do them in a group?
Wanna do
I
my
don't
group?
mind, I mean,
I
we're all
think
in the
that would
same-
be good.
They're all in the same category, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Do, you want me to make the motion now?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm making a motion for the elderly exception renewals be approved for 210-10, 113-11, 121-10, 214-10, and 209-4.
And I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, then we have two new elderly exemption applications. The first one is map 105, lot 10. This is an individual and his wife who had applied in previous years and were denied as they did not meet the income and asset requirements. This year, with a lot of visits to my office, we work together, and they will meet them this year, they just by a hair,
I have a feeling I know who you're talking about, but.
so. And he did submit all the required bank documents and other documents, and I
What
feel.
is the criteria on elderly exemption?
So for a married couple, which these two are, they have to make under 37,000. I believe when I totaled it up, they made about 36,000, so
Yeah.
That's combined income?
combined.
That's still
I
poverty
know,
level.
I know. What's single?
Single is
That's
25,000.
what I thought.
Yeah, that's,
And those are limits that we could revisit and try to make a warrant for next year if we're interested in
those limits,
raising
I
them.
think I asked this the last time, those limits are set by the town,
Us.
Yeah, Howie Knight come in a couple of years ago and we bumped it up to those numbers.
So with cost of living increases
Yeah,
and
yeah.
inflation, it might be something we consider for putting on a warrant for
I mean,
next year.
that
but-
amount of money might be okay in,
If-
in another part of the country, but here in the Northeast, that's definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
It depends on their assets
And,
and what
yeah,
they're bringing in.
if they
and
own
their
it, if they have a
debt and
mortgage
all
or-
that, and I think when we get the whole board together, we can bring it up
Yeah, we can
latter part of the summer.
schedule that for a
Yeah.
meeting where we don't have a lot going on.
Yeah, no, sounds good.
So, want a motion to
I was
approve?
just gonna ask if you made the motion.
No, I'll make the motion to accept that new elderly exception for map 105 lot 10.
I'll second it.
He'll be very happy.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, and then got one more, which I think I may have mistyped on your agenda. I corrected it on Dawn's. Map 31, lot 14.
Yeah,
I
the
got wrong.
one's there, it's just
Yeah.
in a different spot.
So this is an individual who had reached out to me last year and had just missed the deadline to apply for the elderly exemption and got her documents in time this year. So she is eligible to begin receiving it in the amount of 64,000. She's in the 65 and up category.
Yeah,
So,
I'll make a motion to accept that new elderly exemption application for map 31 lot 14.
perfect.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, then we've got a new solar exemption application. This individual has 17 solar panels on his roof. So the exemption amount is 6,800. Basically, the solar exemption zeroes out your value, so 6,800 is what our assessing software determined the value of 17 panels is.
Okay, so,
The way the solar exemption works is
Yeah.
it figures out how much instead of your property value going up, it just keeps it the same. Because
okay,
solar panels would normally add value.
okay, I'm a little mystified, but,
So if you did $30,000 worth of solar onto your roof, pulled the permit, that
Yeah.
would trigger your assessor to go out and take a look at it and say,
it's,
that's 50,000 or 20,000, whatever that is.
okay,
So with the solar, and this we went through town meeting on, solar is a good thing for the environment, so your value stays the same at your house, it
Okay.
doesn't increase it up.
Okay.
So
It
so they
increases
don't
it, but yet
receive a
there's
credit like the
okay,
other
I
ones.
get that.
Now, an
It just-
appraiser, if you were doing a bank loan or something, the appraiser may come out and give it value or not, but for tax purposes or
Okay.
not. It gets a little funny when you've got the arrays on the ground and now you're parking stuff under it, it becomes a kind of a shed,
Okay.
but I don't think
Yeah, this
we've run
one's just
into
a
that
simple-
yet. This is
a
a
simple
simple
one.
one just on the roof.
Okay. So I will make a motion to accept this, the solar exemption for map 197 lot 6.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright, then I've got some meeting minutes. So the February 13th meeting, Ken, could sign. It was you and Rosemary were
Okay.
there. So last time Rosemary didn't sign it.
Yeah.
Because you weren't here. So up to you if you wanna have your signature and then Rosemary can
I'll
just
sign
put
it
hers
when
on
she
at a
catch
later
up.
date.
Yep.
Technically, we're not legally required to sign them. That's what Tony was telling me, so it's more formality. And then we've got our minutes from our last meeting, which Rosemary is not here, so
Don can
we,
sign them.
Don can sign for those. If he wants to, that is.
Now, Allison, I already signed February 13th.
You didn't sign it, so if you wanna come in and put a signature on it, I think you reviewed it already. It was,
20 seconds.
yeah, that was a short, uneventful meeting.
Okay. And I will be there in May.
Awesome. All right, and then, let's see, for unscheduled matter / public comment, I have one unscheduled matter that I'm gonna bring up. This is just a discussion matter. I had an individual call me yesterday with some concern about the fact our meetings are no longer on Zoom. She lives out of state and likes to, from time to time, be able to watch if it's something relevant to her. And she brought up an issue that she could see a scenario that could come up. Say, cause she and some other neighbors are in a dispute with other neighbors, and she's worried that if one of the neighboring people she's disputing came into the meeting and she wasn't able to attend or go by Zoom,
Yep.
that
So she
they
couldn't-
could bring up something, she wouldn't have time
Protect herself.
to answer that.
So
So she wants to kind of know if we have a stance on the procedure.
technology has changed over time and people are thinking Zoom is a right, it's an option / privilege. It's everybody's obligation to maintain the agendas. We wouldn't bring anything up in the agenda, but during public comments, somebody could have comments to it. The cable committee, which I am a member of the cable committee as well, can't find volunteers during the daytime to staff
I
these
explained
meetings.
that.
We do have an individual now, hopefully, that is taking those, that's why we're on Zoom today.
So she was wondering, so if, say somebody came in, they could say their piece, of course.
Yeah.
But would we as a board feel comfortable doing something like, somebody comes in, they can say a few sentences, but then if we know there's other parties that are involved, would we then say, we would prefer you to make an appointment and come back to our next meeting to allow the office and any interested parties to see it on the agenda and attend? She's worried that,
Assessing, I guess, is kind of unique, that what are they going to say?
and I understand what
Yeah,
she
we
was
would-
saying, because sometimes I would like to go down to the office and research a matter before answering, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, somebody has the right to come in and speak at any given time, they could say something. I'm just wondering, as an assessor, how that would be relevant. My neighbor built a garage and he didn't get any permits. Well, that's downstairs, that's
Yeah,
code enforcement.
I think she's more thinking about like, when it comes to like if there's a boundary dispute or
I'm assuming
something
they're
where
already involved.
they have
already
lawyers
know that,
involved.
And their lawyers are watching and gabbling it.
her thoughts are just, if it's on the agenda, she knows that she should come
Yeah.
in or make plans to try to watch it on Clearview but if they just come in unannounced,
Speak during public comment,
speak during public comment,
then she would.
then she
if-
might
if
miss
she
out
was-
being able to reply immediately.
Well,
Yes, one could then watch it online
read
after.
the minutes,
Could
well, if it
someone-
wasn't online.
And her other thought was, meeting minutes often aren't online until they're finalized.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's a delay where,
If that person couldn't make the meeting, could they have someone represent them?
yeah,
Absolutely,
if they know to come.
yeah, but, I think it seems like, Clearview has a person during the day now, so I
And
think we've
is
resolved the
Clear,
issue.
here, that's live streamed, right, Ralph?
It sure is.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just filmed and then put on after
Are
how
you-
it worked.
Are you doing this, Ralph?
Actually, Luke and I are both doing that, and I came down to try to reassure the public that we're going to attempt to make sure that Zoom is available for these meetings from here on out. Just as that convenience, like Kenny says, it's not a requirement.
That would solve the problem
It's
right
a
here.
luxury. And,
But just one day it can go boop and not work.
right.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
not a
have
requirement.
7 people that didn't wanna make the commute, and I understand that, it's good to even watch it on Facebook 3 days later or something like that, it's not just live streamed, it's Facebook, it's on all the platforms and things, but.
Well, I can say that, at one point we were accused of trying to censor comments. Really, it was the lack of a body upstairs that deals with the inputs. The Zoom attendee that wants to be heard has to be manipulated upstairs. So, it wasn't an intentional censorship method or anything like that. But now we do have an opportunity to make sure that the Zoom is utilized on a consistent
So
basis.
is the Zoom integrated with the Clearview? How does that work,
Yeah.
technology wise?
So
I'm just nosy.
technology wise, Clearview's putting out the signal through Castus. The Zoom comes in, there's four different laptops up there. The Zoom has its own laptop, it has to be attended to.
Okay, so if
So it won't automatically,
gotcha, that was the
pick up
question.
hey chief,
How are you? How's everybody doing?
We're talking about the lack of our meetings being on Zoom from
I had an individual
Concerned
call
resident.
yesterday, and she was worried about what would happen if her neighbor who she's having a dispute with came to a meeting, not on an agenda, as an unscheduled public comment, and she wouldn't be able to then answer back to them because she didn't know they were gonna be here, so she wouldn't have made the effort to attend the meeting remotely or.
Yep.
So she was just wondering about, will Zoom be back on?
I think.
How's that gonna work?
I think good advice would be if she witnessed something like that she's concerned about, ask for an opportunity to be on the agenda for the next meeting. And that way, she's an agenda item, whoever was there to begin with, making comments would know that, and they would have an opportunity to attend, so it's real, I think Kenny was hitting the nail on the head. As a luxury, Zoom can't be relied upon each and every meeting, so if you're really wanting to be heard, either attend the meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the best way to go about it, is
Yeah.
attend the meeting.
That seems logical.
But for an individual who doesn't live in town,
Right.
she's essentially worried that said individual could come in at any time and discuss his view of the matter
If it's.
without her being able to.
But if we're talking public comment, we're talking a couple of minutes.
Okay, so that's,
If it's a real.
so if it was a
matter, it
real
needs to be
issue,
on
we
the
could
agenda.
then have them come in, make their public comment, and then say, we would like to table this matter to the next
Yeah.
meeting when
And I
others
was
can be
just
in
gonna say,
attendance.
Historically, all boards will hear one side of the story, and if the other side's not there, I trust you guys would say, okay, thank you for
Thank you for your
side,
input.
and now you'll get the other before you.
Okay, that's what I thought, I
Yeah.
just wanted to clarify. Make sure everybody has their chance to say what they need to say. So that's that.
If it's the neighborhood I'm thinking of, everybody there
It was
is on a state,
cozy corner,
but nobody lives there constantly.
yeah. She's just worried with the summer incoming that tensions may heat up between neighbors. It's a lakefront water issues. And that is. So we did have one more matter that we could discuss. I think it may fall under a non-public, but I'm not sure of the RSA, which category. It's revolving the timber tax issues. I think it falls under non-public on the damaging to people's
CWC,
I think it's C.
not to impugn anybody's
reputation, yes. So if someone wants to move to non-public under item C?
Is that why you came in, Dino?
Well, if you're entering non-public, that's my time to leave.
I already talked to Dino about it.
Yeah.
I just,
Hopefully you were here to silence me, you know.
Me? I didn't even know you were here. I had no idea you were here.
What's the RSA number?
C, I believe,
91A.
91AC.
So as to not impugn anybody's
Yeah.
reputation.
So if we're-
Do we have it on the agenda that there was a
It is
non-public?
not on the agenda,
So we can just lightly talk about it
Yeah.
anyways if something's coming up.
just an update,
I'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91A C. Paul, aye.
Don.
I second the motion.
Alright, now we,
Could I ask, well, I was gonna ask, should we turn that right up? You probably won't have any more.
there's nothing else after that,
Okay, alright. Look,
So-
we're all set, and I'll take these.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that was
Thanks
very,
for putting us
very
back on
helpful.
the air.
Hey, I emailed them yesterday. We could thank me too.